Hello and welcome to another session in English language, and today we are focusing on first introduction to stress. Then we'll follow that with minute writing, how to write in the minutes of a meeting, and lastly we'll conclude with punctuation mark. We'll consider the full stop, we'll consider the comma also, how to use them. But before all of that, let us review the previous lesson. Welcome back. So we begin with speech work, and so we'll deal with introduction to stress. So we know stress is an important part of oral English. You will always be tested on this aspects of speech work. So we are dealing with word stress today. Now, every word in English has a fixed stress pattern. In other words, there is a particular syllable in that word that receives the stress, so it remains unchanging. Okay, so we also have rules that guide stress pattern too. Okay, so we must acquaint ourselves with these rules. Okay, so let's look at them. The first is that you stress the second syllable from the end of the word that ends in IC, IAL, ER, OW, ERE, EGE, URE, ATION, OR, ADE, EOUS, okay, STOTURE. Now, every of these words you stress from the second syllable from the end. Okay, let me give an example that is not here. Let's say, for instance, privilege. Okay, privilege. So, the second syllable, if you are going to divide that, privilege. Okay, second syllable is this. This is 1, 2. So from the end, 1, 2. So if I'm going to write that again, I will have then ledge. So you can see that the stress is on V. So it's privilege. Privilege. Remember, the syllable that receives the stress is pronounced louder, longer, and with a higher pitch. Okay? So we have dramatic, inferior, comedian, parasitic, entertainment, superintendent, experimentation. So these words are pronounced, have their stress pattern on the second syllable from the end of the word. Then we also have another rule that you stress the third syllable from the end of a word that ends in IFY, ITY, ATE, AL, IVE, TY, CAL, IZE, ISE, MENT, okay, ONY, ISM. Okay, so let's take examples. Management. If you would divide this into, so we have management. So third is management. Okay, then we have particle. So particle. So you stress the third syllable. Nobody. So nobody. So miracle. So you can see now, miracle. Inferiority. So these are examples of words you stress on the second syllable. Okay, so you can see the words written in uppercase letters are stressed on the third syllable. Then we also have another rule that says we should stress the first syllable from the end of a word that ends with RETTEPOSESEAND, so and so on and so forth. Look at those list of words. So once such words end with that, we stress the first syllable from the end. Okay, so we have entertain, we have understand, interrupt, referee, Japanese, magazine. Okay, so I believe you got that. So mastery is actually from continuous practice. So as much as you want to master that, I would encourage you, keep practicing. Okay, keep practicing. Okay, stress pattern, then you get used to it. Now let's move on to another aspect of English, which is minute writing. Writing the minutes of a meeting. Okay, writing the minutes of a meeting. Now, so it's very important that we know that we might be in attendance in a particular meeting and we are required to write the minutes of the meeting. So the minutes of the meeting refers to the record of events and discussion, okay, that took place, all right, during or in the course of the meeting. The record of events and discussions that took place in the course of the meeting. Okay, so all of that should be captured in the minutes of the what? Meeting. So, and there is a pattern. There is how we write minutes of the meeting. So follow this discussion closely. Now, so when writing the minutes of the meeting, please set out your agenda. It's very, very important. Okay, without the agenda, the minutes of your meeting would be all messed up. So this is a typical sample of what you call the agenda of a meeting: the arrival and introduction of guests of honor. Okay, then the chairman's opening remarks, then the club president's address, the chief launcher's address, launching of the club, then we have refreshments, then the chairman's closing remarks, and the vote of thanks. Now, for instance, we now want to take a sample. If you are to write the minutes of the annual general meeting of your club or association there in Gambia, your report should also follow the sequence of items on the agenda already sent out to members. Now, this is a typical agenda. Introduction, minutes of the last meeting should be, should be captured. Then matters arising from the minutes. Okay, then the secretary's annual report, then the financial secretary's annual report, then the president's annual report. All these things are captured in the minutes of the meeting. Then the closing. Then your report should begin with the name of your club. Please don't forget that, because you are writing the minutes of the meeting for your club. But if it's for an organization, you begin with the name of the organization. Then also you capture, very importantly, the date and the venue where the meeting was held. Okay, you capture the date the meeting was held, the venue where the meeting was held. Then also you capture the list of members in attendance. Okay, capture the list of members and the number of members in attendance. Okay, then you follow that with what you call the agenda of the meeting, item by item, in the order in which they happened, or what you call a sequence. Okay, so with that, you are good to go on practicing, on writing the minutes of a meeting. And I believe if you follow this to the letter, you will do well writing a wonderful minute. Okay, so let's move on to another part of English, and that is punctuation. So we continue from where we stopped in the previous lesson. Remember, we talked about the exclamation mark used to express, elements of surprise, feelings, or strong emotions. Okay, we talked about the question mark. We also talked about the apostrophe. But today we'll focus first on the full stop. Okay, so another name for full stop is period. So Americans call it period. Okay, so it is used at the end of a sentence. A complete sentence is used to indicate that a sentence or a statement is grammatically complete. Okay, Ngozi is a good girl. Full stop or period. My mother came here yesterday. Period. The children love playing in the rain. Period. So we can also use a full stop to indicate abbreviations, initials, or numbers. So we have EG. So you can see after the E and after the G we have your full stop, which means exempli gratia in Latin. For example, ETC is not E.T.C, it is ETC, then your full stop after the C, which means etc. in Latin, which means and so on. Then A.M is antimeridian, which means before noon. Okay, then we have PM, post-meridian in Latin, which means afternoon. Then we have PhD, Ph.D. which means you are a doctor of philosophy. You've bagged a postgraduate degree. Then we have OCT. That's an abbreviation of a month, October. Then we have BBC, then dot. That's British Broadcasting Corporation. Okay? So then we use it for initials. MKO, Abiola. Okay, so the initials there is MKO. That's Moshood, Kolawole, Olawale. Moshood, Kashimawo, Olawale, Abiola. So that's M for Moshood, K for Kashimawo, O for Olawale. So but we abbreviated with MKO. You can also have initials of your name. Then you can also use them for numbering when you are listing out things. 1 dot oranges, 2 dot mango, 3 dot you can see pear. So that's how you make use of your full stop. Then we move on to the comma. The comma is used to separate items, words, or phrases or clauses in a list. He ran down the stairs, along the corridor, through the doorway, and down the road. You can see now those are separate items. So we indicate with what? A comma. So this is a separate item, along the corridor, a separate item, through the doorway, and down the road. So you can see how we separated those things. We could also use it to make a list. We could say mother went to the market. Mother bought oranges, apple, pineapple, shoes, and bags. So you can see we are making a list here. So you can see we have to use a comma to separate the items. Okay, so that is another use. So we are using to separate words. Okay, then also we use it in a directory to separate the rest of the sentence from the quotation itself. My mother said, comma, that is not what I believe. So this is the quotation. That is not what I believe. That's what my mother said. So commas are also used in letter writing. They are also used in letter writing to mark off what? The greeting, dear sir, or what you call salutation. Okay, then commas are also used after postscripts, yours sincerely. Okay, then you put your first name. Then commas are also used with addresses, measurements, and references. So when you are writing your address, you also use the comma. They are also used to enclose words which refer to just the same person. Mrs. Edwards, comma, the principal, comma, spoke to the school. So this expression underline the principal is still referring to whom? Mrs. Edwards. So we can do without this expression and say Mrs. Edwards spoke to the school, or we can say the principal spoke to the school. So it's used to enclose words which refer to the same person mentioned. Okay, so to set off, we also use the command to set off insubordinate clauses or other introducing words. Before she died, my mother gave me a lot of money. So before she died, my grandmother gave me a lot of money. So there is a subordinate clause there, and there is the main clause. The main clause is this can stand alone. My grandmother gave me a lot of money, but this is the subordinate clause, while this is the main clause. Okay, so then we have the dash. The dash is used to break, incense, or falter a speech. If you tell a lie, I shall know it's Ngozi, so remember that before you speak. You can't just be writing like that vaguely. So if you tell a lie, comma, I shall know it's Ngozi, so remember that before you speak. So you can see the dash used to what? To break or falter a particular speech. Okay, then we have the colon. Okay, the colon is used to make a list or an explanation or a long quotation. Mommy will buy, then you are making a list now, meat, fish, gari, onions, and crayfish. Okay, so you use a colon to introduce or to announce a list. Then we have what you call the quotation mark. The quotation mark is used many ways. Number one, you use it for direct quotation. Okay, for direct speech. I shall go to the market, said mother. So you can see the quotation marks on this expression. Okay, you can see the quotation mark on this expression. Those are the direct words of my mother. Then you can also use it in the direct quotation from books. So anytime you are quoting an author, you should use what you call the quotation mark. Shakespeare says, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Okay, then also we use quotation marks to enclose titles or articles or poems or short stories or newspapers or chapters of books or songs or periodicals. Okay, so and we also use it for numerous things. But with this, we've come to the end of today's lesson, and I believe you learned a whole lot today. Thank you very much for joining this lesson. In order to refresh your memory and recall all that has been taught, I would encourage you to take the test that appears on your screen.